It is Wednesday. It is March 19th. This is the DLLS Dallas Stars Podcast. We are live today from our podcast studio here in downtown Dallas. Craig Ludwig, Sam Nestler. I'm Owen Newkirk. John Andersen is our producer, who's very much getting ready for our guests, which is not going to be at 2:30 like we thought. It's going to be in just moments, mere moments. Mason Marchment, Dallas Stars forward, is about to join us live on remote, so we will say hi to him momentarily, and when we do that, we'll have him for the first couple of segments, and then we have some more Stars and hockey talk to get to at the end. But right now, he's here. He's on time. He's ready to go. Please welcome Mason Marchment. Hi, Mason.
How's it going, boys?
Thanks for joining us today and fitting us in the schedule. I know it's not easy. You guys have been playing games relentlessly. You had 4 days between games after Vancouver, and then it's just game again. So I'll start with that. With the Four Nations, with the condensed schedule, you guys have played a ton of hockey, and it feels like there aren't a lot of recovery days. Is that a particular challenge this year with the fact that you have all this condensed calendar?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been a different season than years past. A lot of more back-to-backs and kind of every other day. You don't really get that extra day off like kind of you normally would. But yeah, it's been a grind, and at this point, you just got to kind of fall in love with the grind and enjoy it and take it day by day. So it's been good.
I'd let Sam go, but I think he bugs you enough, so I'll just jump in. I'll jump in here. Mason, can you explain the so-called trap games, and are they real?
Yeah, they're real. Sometimes it's just you have a day off, and teams coming into town that you should beat, and sometimes it just some of the games get lully. It's PK, PP, and I think it just I don't think it happens on purpose at all. I think it just sometimes it's like it's a trap. I don't really know how to explain it, but I think we did a good job of getting the win last night. So that's all that really matters.
Okay, so I want to get into a really important, serious question.
Okay.
Which that's not even remotely close to what he's going to ask.
It's neither important nor serious. Sunday afternoon in Denver, you get called for one of the silliest penalties that we've seen in quite some time, where Devon Tays' stick, can openers between the legs of Cale Makar. You are incensed. You could tell right away. And it's funny because many times when we watch a replay of a guy getting a penalty, it looks clear and obvious it's a penalty, yet he still will complain to the referee, what did I do? That's not a call. In this instance, you are 100% justified in your response because you literally didn't touch him.
Yeah.
I have two questions.
The worst part was that Taves, he put his hands up like this, like the guy did it, but he was the one that did it. So it's kind of crazy that way, but go ahead. Sorry.
So no, I'm glad you jumped in because Luddy pointed that out. He said he sold it by going, hey, that's a trip, which was silly. But two things. Is that the weirdest penalty you've ever been called? And then we saw Eric Furlat, the referee, come talk to you at the start of the third period before puck drop because you had to go back in the box. And I want to know what he said to you.
He just said from his angle, it was kind of hard to see where the sticks were at. So, which is understandable. I mean, the game happens so fast, and the refs do the best that they can. And I mean, the one last night I wasn't too happy about either, honestly. But the game happened so fast, and I can understand what he kind of saw, but at the same time, I've never had that happen to me. That's for sure.
You know what though, Mason? I thought it was incredibly smart to do it, and the way you did it, like you had a laugh, you were laughing with them, and it was kind of like, okay, dude. And I was curious. I was curious if the line of thought in my opinion, coming from you, was like, all right, you owe me one. You owe us one somewhere down the line here, and you're just kind of buttering them up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I told him right after it happened. I said, I'm 100% sure that wasn't my stick. And he's like, I'll take a look at it. And luckily, I mean, good on him for taking a look at it and, coming up to me and admitting, he made a mistake, which, happens. And, yeah, but, yeah, he kind of gave me a little, I owe you one. So, maybe that's a little nice to have a ref on your side.
When
Most of the time they're against me. So,
did you see the replay from the box at the end of the second period? Did you have to go into the locker room between periods to see it?
no, I went into the locker room and saw it. Yeah, it's just like I said, it was a tough angle. I can see from where he was standing why he would call it, but just the whole way it went down with Taves kind of selling it, and it was funny. I thought, honestly, it's pretty crazy.
Now, we're not going to just try to relitigate all of the calls of the course of the season. I promise you that. But you did mention the play where you ran into Radko Gudas last night in the Anaheim game. And Luddy and I were debating this post game because from the game camera, it looked like you turned, you were at full speed, he turned, nobody could get out of the way, and you just kind of were trying to protect yourself. The reverse angle looked like you freight trained him and were clearing him out like you were the lead blocker on a running play. So it's funny how that perspective can change. And we always sort of tap ourselves on the shoulder, whether you're trying to look at a hit or diagnose a goal going, okay, what did that player see? What did the goalie see? Or what did the ref see? Can you, when the emotions are running high, put that in perspective? Or is that sometimes you have to calm yourself down later?
I think just try to calm myself down as much as I can. I've been known to run a little hot sometimes, and just like the other night when I got that penalty in Colorado, I kind of snapped a little bit. But after the fact, I came out and I just talked to him. They're just normal people, and I just wanted to have a conversation about what he saw. And the one last night, I kind of already committed to drop it and cut to the middle, and I've played with Butch in Florida, so I know his game, and I know he can kill some people cutting through the middle. So I saw him coming, but I thought I got rid of the puck before there was any hit gonna come. So it just so happened where when I started cutting, he started skating towards me, and it just there was no time to get out of the way. I tried to get out of the way, and I ended up hitting him high. So I sent him a text saying sorry, but he's killed quite a bit of people coming through the middle. So you got to keep your head up when he's out there.
I just think that in an instinct, first off, you know when those kind of guys are on the ice. And so when you turn and you see it's him, number one, you're going, okay. I know. I mean, we all know how he plays, right?
Yeah, I was honestly
you know who?
just trying
Hey,
to
let me tell you
protect
something.
myself,
You know
so.
who he plays like? Your old man.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, he does. But I think
Yeah.
what you did, and the reason you punch him in the head, you don't really punch him in the head, but you're kind of protecting yourself at the same time. He's basically at your belt level, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Like I said, it happened so fast. I don't think it should have been a penalty. I think, we kind of just run into each other, and it's, no one's trying to take a liberty on anyone there. I definitely wasn't trying to hurt him or come high on him. I was just trying to honestly get out of the way. So, but like I said, the game happened so fast, and, can't really argue it.
Let's let Gilligan get in here for a moment.
Yeah, I can hang out. I can hang out with you guys too. Mason, we got to talk about Tyler Seguin. So I've asked you a few times about him, but I want a two-part question kind of here. What do you miss most with Tyler being not just out of the lineup, but when he was away from the team? And what have you really seen since he's been now allowed to be around the team more and with you guys, went on the trip with you?
Yeah, I mean, he's been here for I think this is 11 years now. So, he's definitely a leader on the team, and young guys look up to him, and he's a great guy to have around the room, and he's definitely been missed this year, especially on the ice. He's such a good line mate, and we really have some good chemistry too. So it's tough to have him sit out all year, but hopefully this is the last hip surgery he needs, and he can get back rolling here.
Is that frustrating for you guys at all? Because I know you got to go with it. There's injuries in hockey, but at the same time, you've essentially had one of the better lines in hockey. But every time you get it rolling, it seems like something happens that breaks it up. Does that get frustrating?
Yeah, really. Yeah, it does. I mean, but at the end of the day, there's really nothing you can do about it. You just got to keep playing and keep pushing. But he's definitely missed, and he's always got some comments here and there. He texted me a couple games ago. I was snapping back some draws, and he was fired up for me. So he's always supporting and such a good teammate. So it'll be nice to have him back. That's for sure.
I want to ask you about the injury, and then we'll get into how good your season was before that. But it's been a big part of your year, and it's kind of unfortunate because I thought that you were playing with the most confidence on the ice that I've seen since you came to Dallas. Right before that puck hit you in the face, you were just flying and probably feeling really good about it. Complete freak accident, right? Terrible timing.
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever a good thing, but where exactly did it hit on you, and what was the aftermath like for you?
Yeah, it was bad. It hit me kind of right next to the eye here on the nose. So I broke my nose in like 7 pieces and shattered my face quite a bit. So yeah, there were a couple different plates that I had to get put in, and yeah, definitely. I've had my fair share of surgeries, and it was one of the tougher ones for sure. I really couldn't eat for a couple weeks and lost a lot of weight, and just coming back to, like, I couldn't breathe for like a month out of my nose. So and I'm a nose breather, so that was tough. And yeah, I mean, it was a tough bounce, but kind of tough to I wanted to get back and play, but at the same time I wasn't really able to do too much. So just this last month and a half, just coming back, and I'm starting to feel like myself again, and injuries happen, so but it kind of sucks that it happened when I was feeling so good.
So I know that breathing is a very important thing in any athletic endeavor, let alone hockey, where you're basically sprinting and then sitting and then sprinting in these intervals all night.
Yeah.
Could you breathe when you tried to sleep? If you're a nose breather, now all of a sudden you have to mouth breathe. I'm sure that didn't go over very well at home.
Yeah. I don't think I was sleeping very well for a couple of weeks as well. Yeah, it was not easy. I had these tubes in my nose for, I think it was two weeks. That was terrible. I do not wish that on anyone. But yeah, the breathing's coming. So it's getting better and better, and but that was definitely one of the things that kind of helped me out for a while, which is not being able to breathe.
You've gone through the iterations of the face protection of this, right? You had the full bubble. Now you're back to the middle, to having two. I'm guessing it's so that you can have your tinted visor again and get a little bit more airflow, or maybe just feel a little closer to the vision that you like.
Yeah, I think it's just the airflow. It doesn't really fog up on me, and it's easier to get on. And the full bubbles, it's pretty hard to see. There's less holes for you to kind of see through, especially when the puck's in your feet and there's someone on you. So this new visor, it maybe not look the best, but it's definitely better than the full shield. That's for sure.
Fans are calling it the Franken bubble.
Perfect.
Just to kind of put it together.
Hopefully I can get it off here pretty soon, but yeah, it's definitely been better than the full shield. That's for sure.
What's the waiting time for that? Like, is there something specific you're waiting for before you're able to take that off?
Just for majority of it to heal, mostly. I had 3 plates put in, so I still get some tingles and some funny feelings, I guess you could say, in the face. So, just kind of waiting for that to feel right, and then I can take it off.
We got to go to a break.
We do. Luds is on time. How about that, Mason? Luds can keep an eye on the clock. More with Mason Marchment here in just a moment on DLLS.
First, let's talk about Sleeper. Sleeper is the best fantasy platform out there, period. Put your ball or puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite player will have more or less in their projected stats each week. You can even pick whether Mason Marchment scores a goal when the Dallas Stars play the Tampa Bay Lightning
why wouldn't you pick
tomorrow,
that?
and that just seems like a good pick. For tonight, since the Stars are off, I have Toronto Maple Leafs captain Austin Matthews scoring a goal against the Colorado Avalanche. Hopefully in a win for many Stars fans as well. If that hits, you can win 2.01 times your money. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply it to any contest, doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
You know, owning property is wonderful, but also has its share of challenges. And with one of the big things is overpaying for property taxes. Well, Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying for property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. You shouldn't overpay. And sometimes that could even be thousands of dollars. Put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes by using Ownwell. Ownwell handles everything from start to finish and delivers top results. No upfront costs, only pay if you save. 86% of Ownwell's customers receive a reduction with average customer savings of $1,102. Remember, that's just the average. You can get more than that. Hundreds of thousands of happy customers and 5-star reviews, of course. You can make your pitch by before May 15th is the deadline. That's the deadline to protest, May 15th for most counties in Texas. Save money on your property taxes with Ownwell. Sign up in as little as 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/DLLS. That's OWNWELL.com/DLLS. All right. Let's bring Mason back in here. And I don't want you to have to speak for the entire NHL Players Association, but we have asked this to Jim Nill last week and talked to Pete DeBoer about it, I think earlier this week or maybe the end of last week, was the possibility of, because you're one of multiple Dallas Stars this year that suffered from facial injuries. Could you see 10, 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road, an NHL where, you know, there was a time where Luddy played, there was no facial protection at all. Half the guys didn't wear helmets, probably when you came in.
That's
league.
pretty obvious when you look at it.
Yeah.
And it shows. But could you see something more than a half visor in the future of the NHL, not in a year or two, but in the long term?
That's hard to say. I just they'd have to start it young. They'd have to start it in junior or the AHL. I think that would be the only way that they'd be able to do it, because guys get comfortable in the visors. Like for me, I wore a visor before, but I didn't really wear a visor. It was on the top of my head and I didn't look through it at all, basically. So, from now on, for me, I'll definitely be having my visor down. And, but at the end of the day, if you're going to get hit, you're going to get hit. So I think guys just have to learn to protect themselves a little bit, but I can't really see the league. I can't see it happening. I mean, maybe in 20, 30 years, but it's hard for me to see happening.
All right. I promise you we're not going to ask about your injuries the whole time, because that's not fun, but it is fascinating to hear. I didn't know that you had the tubes up the nose, and I can't imagine how miserable that would have been. But I want to ask you about your season before that, because we noticed last year, we talked about at the beginning of this year, you guys had your line with Matt Duchene and Tyler Seguin had by far the best start of any line on the Stars early this season. You guys picked up where you left off last year. The chemistry is obvious for all to see. And specifically, Mason, you looked more confident on your skates, more confident and more confidence playing, and not just trying to be a good F1. Tyler's said before that you're one of the best F1s in the NHL, which is a nice compliment, but you weren't just going to dig the puck out and getting it to them. You were making plays and dictating stuff. And I have to ask, is that the best you felt in the NHL this early part of the season?
Yeah, for sure. We were having so much fun. I mean, that's a big thing for me, and I think a lot of hockey players is, if you're having fun, it's easy. It comes easy. So, we're like you said, we have really good chemistry, and we all enjoy playing together. So, I think it just makes it so easy. So, hopefully he can come back and we can kind of hop back right where we were. And, that's what I'm hoping for. But the line combination is, it just works. I mean, they're both great players and easy to talk to about situations. So, like I said, we have a lot of fun.
So Mason, do you read off of those two, or do you guys have certain areas that you, without giving anything away here, but I mean, are you reading more? Because I was going to ask you, like, it seemed like as soon as you guys got together, it clicked immediately, and it was, and I'm wondering how you guys, do you even have to talk about things, or does everything just come naturally? Because I had said it's pretty obvious that Duchesne likes to come in on the right-hand side of the ice, which is for good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes in, he can pull up, and he makes all the great passes. Tyler can kind of swing in behind, things like that. And I'm wondering, are you the one that reads off of those two, or is everybody reading off each other?
I think everyone kind of reads off each other. I think when we are together, we kind of have our spots and our first looks where, if I get the puck here, I know he's either going to be there or there, kind of thing. So, that makes the game easy. It makes it simple. And, I think that's what we do a really good job at, is knowing where each other are before you kind of get the puck, and the game just comes so much quicker and easy when you have line mates that do that.
What's your thought on when coaches, obviously Pete, goes to the let's mix them up? Like let's rattle, throw the balls in the blender, and like, does it affect you? Is it like, here we go again, or you guys just take it? No, I mean, it doesn't happen to you guys often. It generally happens to other guys just because of your chemistry.
Yeah, not often to us, but when it does happen, I think it's a good thing. I think we got so many good players on our team, and we really don't switch the lines up a crazy amount. So it can be good to maybe spark something, and maybe get a little bit more offense at some point. But people ship them up pretty good. If we're not having a great game, and I think it's a good play. I mean, sometimes it can't get any worse. So you're just trying to find a little spark somewhere, and I think as players, you just kind of have to roll with it.
Okay, I have one serious question for you, and then we have our subscribers, our diehards for DLLS. We did a call for questions, and Sam collected some. So we're going to hit you with some of our viewers' questions in just a second. But I do want to ask you seriously, the Mikko Rantanen acquisition. For the people watching, I mean, when your GM, your team goes for a home run swing and brings in a superstar at the deadline, obviously it's hard to lose a guy like Logan Stankoven. Everybody liked Logan. They still like Logan. Yeah. It's not an easy departure, but you got Mikko Rantanen. That's not easy. That doesn't happen very often. What was your whole reaction when that was going down?
Yeah, that was crazy. Obviously we're gonna miss Stank, and he was such a good kid, and he worked so hard, and he played so hard for the organization, and he's gonna hopefully do big things over there. And I'm sure you guys heard when he scored his first goal. We were all in Vancouver, and the whole team was in there watching the game. So, we all support him still, and he was such a good kid. So, but to get Mikko, it was awesome. I wasn't expecting anything like that, but Jim really knows what he wants, and he gets what he wants, I guess. So. All of us we're very excited. He's obviously, an elite talent in this league, and he's been elite for, 5 to 7 years. So, for someone like him to come in and, really kind of bolsters our roster, and, you see him out there. He's a rig. He's huge. He hangs onto the puck. He makes plays, and, so we're really happy to have him. And, hopefully he can help us bring home the championship this year.
Are you ready for diehards?
I'm ready.
All right, go for it.
All right, let's do it. So there's a few different questions about how you came up into the NHL, right? We've talked about when you look at the numbers, not a lot of players outside the top round, maybe even second round, make it to as far as you did. So I'll kind of just lump these together from Ardell and Aaron. What did you learn from your journey to reach the NHL? And can you tell us about some people that had a big impact on you, either as a kid or young player or whatever, that helped you get here?
What was the first part of the question again? Sorry.
Just what you learned from your journey to the NHL, from where you came from. It's kind of a unique situation, not a first, top pick here that came in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just don't quit. I had so many friends growing up and buddies that were so good, and they just, they either didn't get drafted or, they didn't get to play the role that they wanted to, and they kind of just fizzled it out. I mean, for me, I just loved playing hockey. I loved to compete, and so it made it easy for me to just want to work and get better. And maybe in a way it was kind of easier for me to do that because I really didn't start playing hockey competitively till I was probably 17, 18. So for me, just enjoying the game and loving the grind. I went to Toronto for 5 years and did a lot of development there. There's a lot of people there that, Barbara Underhill is one of them for sure. Helped me skating and just grow my overall game and also as a person. But yeah, Barb, Rich, one of the trainers that I had there, there was just a lot of people that were in my corner trying to help me out. So, I can't really say enough things about what they did to me, the organization. And, it's been a long journey, that's for sure.
Yeah. Next one's another ones that we got a bunch of where people love your friendship with Jake Oettinger. A lot of fans love to watch what you guys do pregame, things like that. So I could ask you hours of questions about it, but I'll give you the two main ones. The first one, do you have a secret handshake with Jake?
We do have a handshake. Yes. It's not very secret, but yeah, we got a handshake. I can't.
You don't have to give it away. Yeah, there was no follow up for giving it away, so you don't have to worry about that. Second one, John, you want to pop up the picture we have here? So something that fans started to watch for at pregame was your little huddles, whether that was with Delandria, you and Jake, or whatever it might be. So the question here is, what are you talking about in these scenarios? This is for you listening. This is Mason and Jake kneeling down pregame and warm up.
Yeah, I think this year is just us pumping each other up, before the game, getting each other excited and telling each other what we want out of each other for the game. So it's fun and, we have fun with it. And, it's a nice little huddle before we kind of dial it in.
So there's some seriousness going on in that conversation. It's not all goofy.
Yeah, there's some serious. Yeah, I'm telling him, stop the puck. Yeah, no, he's awesome guy and, such a good teammate in person. I'm very lucky to, I've met him, crossed paths with him, and now we're great friends.
So this is going to go right with that. Question from Kiki Mojo. We saw the San Jose Sharks' recent viral sleepover with Celebrini, Smith, and Toffoli. If you were forced to have two roommates from the Stars, who would you room with, and what would your late night snacks be?
Oh, I think I would pick.
Don't pick Pete.
No, I'm picking Segs because he always has a suite, so he's got the big room. That's he's gonna have some room for us, and then I'll bring Jakey around. He's always good for a laugh. And our late night snack, mine would be ice cream and cookies. I can't speak for the other two. I don't want to throw either of them under the bus here.
Are you a big ice cream guy?
Yeah, I don't mind a nice little ice cream and cookies. That's kind of my treat when I treat myself.
Oh, it's a terrible vice. I love it. I could eat ice cream every day. Probably should eat less of it, but yeah.
All right. Next one, Sooner Fan 4321 says, which player has the goofiest pregame routine?
Oof, the goofiest pregame routine. That's tough. I really don't pay attention to other guys' routines, too much.
I'm so glad you don't know. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that you don't know, because I wouldn't have
Yeah,
a clue.
I really don't. There's nothing really that sticks out, honestly. Sorry, guys.
All right. Next one.
Well, hold on before you do.
Go
So
ahead.
the picture you had with Jake, you're out there with a hair skate, right? No bucket, right?
Yep.
I love it. I think it really shows some personality in the warm up. But the question I have is, in Ludz's day, there'd be guys with the hair dryer doing the old 80s hockey, big old mullet flow going on for the warm up.
Yeah.
Is there anybody getting in front of the mirror and really working on the hair? You don't have to give away any names.
Other than Jamie Benn night.
Yeah. The Jamie Benn night was
allowed.
unreal. But like, are there guys still working up the dew before they go out for warm up?
Yeah, there's a couple guys that like to slick it back, and I'm not going to give away any names, but they like to slick it back and they keep it tight. That's for sure. I'm a little more messy and kind of let it flow.
All right, Sam. One
All right,
more.
yes, last one from our fans. This is from Aaliyah. You've become such a fan favorite in your time in Dallas, which, by the way, is true. We get just nonstop requests about Mason Marchment.
You see the chat
when is
right
Mason
now?
Marchment back?
Love it.
Especially when you're out. So they love you. What is your favorite thing about Stars fans?
I think honestly this rink and our fans are, there's a couple of rinks that maybe match it, but Montreal being one. I mean, Montreal's, I think you ask anyone in the league that it's one of the best rinks in the league, but our fans are right up there, if not two or three. Every night they're into the game, they're involved, cheering, booing, whatever you kind of want out of them. They're there for us, and especially in the playoffs. I mean, they're unbelievable. So, I know a lot of us have a lot of fun playing in front of all these fans, and the support that they show us. So, yeah. Another thing about Dallas too is I've never seen so many fans have jerseys in the stands, which is awesome. I think there's a big jersey group of people here, and I think that's awesome. Show the support for their favorite players, or I think it's great.
Yeah, you actually carry your jersey in wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and then you put the jersey on inside. It's a little warm outside for the long sleeves.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mason,
Yeah.
before we cut you loose here, and first off, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah,
Can you
thanks
give
for
me
having me.
give me two words that describe Thomas Harley, and make sure he knows that I want him here next? But how would you give me two words that describes him?
Tom is about his hockey or his personality?
I don't care. Whatever you
One of
want,
each, maybe.
whatever you feel comfortable with.
I'm gonna say fast. He's fast and goofy. He's a goofy guy. He's funny. He's always kind of joking around, poking, but he's a very good skater, and he's really stepped up for us here lately with Miro being out. So he's been awesome, and I'm so happy for him with the Team Canada stuff. That was so cool to watch, and to kind of take it all in through his perspective. I mean, that's pretty crazy to get the late call there and then just play so well, right? So I'm happy for him, but yeah, fast and goofy, I'll give you.
Yeah, I hear there's no lack of confidence.
No. Sometimes you got to check him a little too. You got to give him a little chirp just to keep him on the same rails.
Well, Mason, I don't know about you from your perspective, but from us, the 30 minutes just flew by. We have tons more things we want to talk to you about. Anytime, your open invitation to come hang out in our lounge studio, which are big comfy chairs. We'd love to have you come on in person, but I kid you not, and this is not just to fluff the ego or anything. We have a couple hundred people watching live right now, and the chat has just been going off. Tell Mason how much, I hope he knows how proud we are that he's on the team. We love him. I mean, it is just a love fest going on in our chat right now. And so I'm just wanting to convey that as we thank you for coming on. They're thrilled that you're a Dallas Star. Thanks for coming on today, man.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks to all the fans for watching and the support throughout the years, and hopefully a couple more.
Thanks, Mason.
Thank you,
Thanks, Mason. Appreciate it today. There he goes. Up next, we're going to talk about Mason as he's now gone here on the DLS Dallas Stars podcast.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating, the coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head over to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
All right, let's talk about Game Time. Luddy, that might have been a record. You flew through that. Attaboy. Game Time is the perfect place to get your tickets for concerts, sporting events, theater, Sam's favorite comedy shows. Go to gametime.co, their website, or even better, download their app, because it has a feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They'll put it right up in front. They have fantastic service. They have great seat views from the app. You can see where you're selecting. You know what you're buying. They have all-in pricing, which is really important, because then you're not surprised by fees at checkout. You know exactly what these tickets are going to cost, and usually a great value, whether it's early or right before the game starts. You can see stuff come down and maybe get a really, really good deal. Plus, of course, they have event cancellation protection, job loss protection, much more, all that at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Well, that was fun.
Game Time.
Mason Marchment.
Game Time?
I don't know about you guys, but I felt like we've just barely scratched the surface. There's so many more things I want to ask him about. Hopefully he'll come in studio at some
30 minutes
point.
goes way too fast, honestly.
It's amazing how quick a half hour goes.
So
I don't know if it feels that way for him.
Yeah, I'm sure
Oh,
it felt like 2 hours.
He's probably like, oh,
I
God.
gotta get out of here.
Well, I know. We hit him with a lot of fastballs, didn't
He
we?
kept looking down at the clock. He was timing us.
Hey, guys, we're over a little bit. Let's move it along. But no, like you brought up the undrafted and where the fact that he didn't start, he says 17, 18, he started playing competitively. Luds, that is really not normal for an NHL player to start playing at a serious level that late in your development. You're in that with your coaching your U18s right now.
Yeah, it's funny to hear. It's not funny. It's awesome to hear some of those stories. And I think every NHL player has some kind of a different story along the path. And, for someone to be that late, and it doesn't mean he's a late bloomer, but especially being in that market, being in that area, and not to be able to someone grab him on a team. But I think it just it reeks of perseverance from the player, and I think he's that guy. And, a lot of it was handed down probably in the genes by his dad. And his dad was a tough customer when he played. So, I think he's carrying that torch along now.
It's something I'd like to maybe ask Mason off air to see if he wants to talk about it on air, would be about his dad, because you played against him. Did you play with him?
I played against him. I was gonna tell him it's odd, and it didn't go over well. So much he was a player. He a lot like you guys remember Darius Kasparaitis.
Oh yes.
So very similar, right? Step up, hit people, hurt people, and
for people that don't know, he's talking about Brian Marchment, Mason's dad.
Yeah, and
the original Mush.
Right, and he, that was the era. You did a lot of that, and Scotty Stevens. I could go down the list of them, but he had taken out, I believe it was the knee of Joe Nieuwendyk. And then there was another game.
That was 97, 98, right?
Yeah,
the year before you guys won the Cup?
Yeah.
Which kind of ended the hope of, by the end of it, losing Nieuwendyk was a big part of why you didn't go on to the Cup final that year.
Yeah, well, anytime you lose Nieuwendyk, obviously it puts a dent in it. But he came back into reunion, play another game, and the door had opened up. right by the penalty box. And Carbo was actually in the box. And I think the guy that was working the door opened it up a little quick. And so everybody thought that Carbo opened up the door and he ran into the boards, into the door, because he knocked himself out. But when they went back and looked, he actually had slipped, hit his head on the ice, helmet came off, hit his head on the ice, and he was out. So after the game was over, I went into our trainers and I said, "Where's he at?" Now I mean, you just say hi every once in a while. You don't go out. I've never been out with beer or anything with him. But I asked him where he was and what
This
hospital.
is you went to the visiting trainers?
No,
right?
I went to our trainer.
Okay.
Well, I asked our trainer to go find out
right,
where he was.
Yeah.
He was in the hospital. And so I had him give me the room number. I went up there and visited him and just see how he was doing. I had never done it before in my life. The only reason I went there is because I respect the guy, the way that he played the game. And the guys found out about it the next day. And that didn't go over too well. No. Because that's nothing we do. That's first and only time I ever did it. And it was more out of respect because, I mean, you play that kind of game and a freak, thing happens like that. And it was scary. I mean, it was a scary thing on the ice, brought the stretchers and all that kind of stuff out there. So it just, sometimes there's guys that you play with, you play against, and you're like, you feel it's okay to feel bad for someone, but they weren't, if it wouldn't have been for Nieuwendyke's knee, it probably wouldn't have been as bad.
But your teammates didn't like that.
Yeah. And again, it's that in that era. And I don't know how I would have felt it been the other way around too. So, but no, and that's what I mean. He knows all about his dad, and, I'm sure he's watched not every one of them, but played. And so I think some of that is the reason that guys like that make it to the next level.
I love the fact that when I say love, it's the same when Lud had said funny. It's not ha-ha funny. It's just interesting. And it's fascinating to hear how many good players he said he played with who would, for lack of a better word, kind of fizzled out or washed out. And it's fascinating because sometimes just being persistent, just not willing to take no for an answer, willing to go to the ECHL and play, working on it with a power skating coach. Barbara Underhill in Toronto was a huge part of getting him to where he was, playing in the AHL, making it to the NHL, getting a huge deal with the Stars, which, he had one really good offensive season with Florida, becomes a free agent. The timing's perfect, comes to Dallas, and then he, after scoring a couple goals right away, kind of petered off a little bit as far as production. And I think there were some people doubting, going, geez, did he cash in at the right time? Maybe the Stars were a little too aggressive. But when you watch his development over the last 2 to now 3 seasons, you can see why Jim Nill gave him that deal, and they went, because he can be a huge force. And this year, it's a shame he got hurt, because we talked about it a bunch on this show. He was by far playing his best hockey before that injury. He was dictating play instead of just going out there and trying to react to it.
It helps to find the right mix of partners, line mates, and just all of a sudden, boom. And it's like, now they complement what I do and I complement what they do. And then it becomes that. And I think we're all hoping that Tyler comes back as close to where he was when he left, when he comes back right away, especially for the playoffs, that they get that same thing back, because that's a line that, as we know, can propel you from round to round.
It's interesting when you trade or sign a free agent that's got some years in the NHL. You don't normally not know what type of player they are, right? When you bring a player in, unless it's a young guy who's only been there for a year or something, for the most part, you have an understanding what he can bring. Here's his ceiling, here's his bottom. With Mason, it kind of felt like we've seen both. We've seen him be a true fourth line, score maybe 7-8 goals, bring the force, forecheck. But then we also saw him in Florida have that explosive year. And it's just cool to see now that he's developed not just one or the other, but he's developed into both. He's been that F1. He's been that guy. He can play on a fourth line and grind the hell out of you in the offensive zone, but then he can also come out and have the games like he did before the injury. I just think watching him progress has been really cool.
It's funny that word confidence has a lot to do with things, huh?
Boy, doesn't it?
He's a confident player.
Yeah.
Really. And it's different than it was when he first got here, because I think he was feeling the pressure of the contract I've got to produce, and it wasn't happening. And now, boy, that link up with Duchesne last year and Sagan, and then to carry it over. That, I think, Luds, is why I don't feel like I'm just being a blind Dallas Stars homer when I say when Sagan comes back, they'll find it again this year, that it's not going to wait till next year. As long as Sagan feels physically okay, we've seen it connect so quickly and so easily over multiple seasons that it doesn't make me have the doubt that they can find it again.
Yeah, no need to put any more pressure on Tyler than need to be.
Right. But
I
there
mean,
is pressure,
they're
right?
good.
But seriously,
Well, I think,
but it is.
You have to, and that's why I wondered how are they gonna put him back together right away? And and again, that's going to depend on practices and all other kind of stuff, how he looks. But or are they going to ease him in and try to get him in the? Let's say he plays 5 games, and do you want to get him in game 1 like 8, 9, 10 minutes and let Tyler turn around and go, I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm good. So. We hope, and it sounds like he's on that right path. And if anybody knows what he's got to overcome, it's himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's the one thing I've realized over the past 5-6 years, and I'm not perfect at all, is understanding the human side of hockey.
No,
players once
you
in a
are
while.
totally perfect, Sam.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But the understanding that the human aspect of certain things, like Tyler Seguin comes back and you're like, man, he doesn't look like the same player.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he had no quad muscle 6 weeks ago, or whatever the reason might be. It's helped to understand and be a little more patient. And
he's not 24 anymore.
Yeah, and
so
just putting things together, right?
Yeah.
Not just thinking, hey, you know what, this guy's making $9 million. He's not scoring 40 goals. What's wrong with him? And I think Marchment, you brought it up. He had his whole situation with his dad.
Yep.
He had the contract. He had all this stuff going on.
Changed
That when he came
teams and
over,
cities.
completely flipped his life around, and people were like, "Oh, what a bad contract!" And all of a sudden, he's one of the key players on this team.
One of the reasons we want to have him on longer is we didn't get to talk to him about his off the ice stuff, where he got married, and think about the difference between where he was to now start, having a wife and maybe starting a family, and just getting comfortable here, having a friend base here now. There's a lot of emotional turmoil when you change organizations, especially at the age that you did. And now they're pretty solid and obviously big friends with Ottinger and Delandry, who's gone, but still a lot of those guys. Okay, we have some more from practice today. We'll talk about with Sam next. And if we have time, we'll squeeze in some NHL news and notes here on the DLS Dallas Stars Podcast. But first, let's talk about being a diehard. We have a huge event coming up. Sign up at the QR code if you haven't already. Why? Because we're going to Cosm next week. Stars and Oilers in Edmonton. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our allotment of tickets sold out almost immediately. There's John on the Lud's body. That's always fun. And
that's always fun. That sentence is always fun.
Now you're going to clip that one?
Probably should.
Now I'm going to erase that from the archive.
There we go.
John
See,
on
I just
Lud's
made it
body.
uncomfortable.
All over Lud's
Well,
body.
What a mutant.
He did it. Yeah, anyway. So not only do we have the Cosm watch along next week, we now have the inaugural Lone Star Open DLS Golf Tournament Scramble, which is coming up on April 25th. It's a Friday. It's at Stevens Park Golf Course, 9 a.m. shotgun start. And diehards can get a 20% discount on all DLLS events, including the golf tournament. Sign up as an individual, a foursome. You can play with your favorite DLS hosts. I want you to sign up for the Samando here. He claims
I'll do whatever.
to be a wretched golfer. Don't you want to play with him? Lud's claims to be
Gilmore
a
comes out soon.
Joe Pavelski type pro. Ding.
Who, me?
But you can at least say, get ready, boys, or Tomahawk City as he goes to hit the tee shot. Entry fee includes continental breakfast, driving range balls prior, and
Tomahawk
18 holes
City.
with a cart, contests on the golf course, a limited edition DLS golf gift pack, great giveaways and prizes, and a grilled buffet lunch after the round. Diehard members use the code DLLS Diehard Golf for your discount. So sign up today. That's just one of the things. Shirts, writing, all the stuff, the Discord. It's worth your time and your money. All right. Oh, and the new release. I almost forgot. The Finnish Mafia shirt. That is on pre-order right now.
Too much cool stuff
I have
going on.
already ordered that. It has not shipped yet, but look at that. Can't wait to wear it on the show. Looks fantastic. Our newest Dallas Stars DLS shirt. All right. Sam, practice was interesting today. Give us an update from Frisco.
Yes. Very optional. I think there were 6 or 7 people skating. Very just doing some drills with the goalies. We talked to Pete before, but the main thing that Pete started with, and our friend Robert Tiffin asked first to clarify the comments that Pete made yesterday when he was asked about the possibility of playing a playoff round without Miro Heiskanen. And to make it very clear, the question was asked in a way of, are you preparing for the possibility of not having Miro for the first round of the playoffs? And so Pete's answer was just simply, yes, we're preparing. That's a real possibility. That Pete made it clear right at the start of the press conference today. He even said, I can't believe this thing's taken on a life of its own on the internet. I mean, I saw ESPN was posting it and all these reports like it was some huge breaking news. And I think Pete wanted to make sure that this was not meant as a update on Miro, really, at all. It was just supposed to say we are expecting Miro to be back, or the plan is for Miro to be back somewhere in that first round of the playoffs, hopefully. So if you just look at the other side of that, that means that you're preparing for a possibility of not having him in the first round, right? But I can understand the wording of Pete clearly, and the way it was reported made it sound very clear like they were not expecting him to be back. So I just want to be very clear. Miro has not skated, and Pete even said Miro is not even skating yet.
This hurts Lud's head.
He has not skated, and he is no timeline changed difference.
I don't know why Pete was surprised or upset about this, Luds, because he's a trained lawyer. He knows how to use words to be very specific when he addresses things. So he can go to court and say, yes, I did not say he wasn't going to play in the first round, but he also acknowledged, and he was honest about it, and he's always pretty honest about things, that there is a chance that Miro plays in the first round. The fact that he was surprised that took off, he forgot yesterday to in the morning skate scrum to add, there's a real chance that he won't play in the first round, but there's also a real chance he will.
Yes.
He didn't add that part, and that's why that got so much traction.
The whole thing. Like, Miro has a knee injury.
Yeah.
He had surgery.
Yep.
He's out. Of course you're going to plan that he's not going to be there. You can't plan that he's going to be there because you don't know. And all he's saying is we're going to move forward as if Miro's not going to be here. If he's here, that's awesome. I don't think you need to. I think you get caught up in how he said it. I mean, the bottom line is we're getting ready that Miro's not going to be here. Man, would it be a blessing if he starts?
Yeah.
End
it's
of
not like
story.
they have to change their plan if
End
he's
of
back.
story.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? We're better now. But you know what's funny, Luds, and the reason I thought this would be interesting to you too is what does this say about the fan base and this city and how sensitive they are to Miro being back, that the reaction was this crazy?
Well, I mean, it's more on the side, well, if Miro's not back, there's no way we can go anywhere without him.
So it feels
I'm
like-
not in that camp. I think they can. And, and again, some things have to fall in line. Starting with the goaltender has to be really good because we've seen without Miro what this team is like and little breakdowns here and there and what happens. But, I mean, you're going to run into this stuff all the way to the finals. You're going to run into guys being hurt and guys being out of lineup for a night or two. And the good teams overcome it. And, Miro's been out for a while. Has Thomas Harley stepped into that and played really, really well? Really, really well.
Really well.
Okay.
That's good.
Let's move on.
Okay. Speaking of moving on, let's look back at the referee comments because that got brought up as well last night. And I think we got distracted with Sam's ears.
That crazy sound.
That noise that we couldn't
It
hear,
wasn't my
but
ears, it was
apparently
this
our
guy.
viewers could. And it was apparently Lud's
Call it what it
microphone
is. Ludz's mic was halfway plugged in.
slowly coming out of the connector.
Now
And
he's giving me a death stare.
yeah. But anyway,
How's this one doing today?
It's plugged in.
It's
You're
so
good.
It's
far.
exactly what I did every day I'm
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I don't touch it.
Yeah.
I just let it sit right
somebody
here.
else was playing with it and it started to wiggle loose.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's somebody else's job.
So your report,
What am I, Mr. Fantastic? I have
well, don't be
elastic
so
arms. I
don't
can
be
reach
so
over
defensive.
here.
I didn't
Oh,
point at
dude.
you.
John's job
Don't
is
be
to
so
come over there and
offensive.
play
All
with
I
him,
said
bro.
is it's someone else's job.
No, you said my name and you said it was my fault.
I didn't know I need an audio visual kind of
I love
degree
it
to
so
come in
much.
here and talk into a microphone.
Do you have a degree in audiovisual stuff?
Apparently not.
No, I don't.
That's
I'm an
okay.
IT minor, if that counts.
He's doing just fine.
No, I
So-
was just curious.
Anyway,
Last
Owen's
night
hockey
in the
point.
post-game show, Pete told Sam and the rest of the media that were assembling after the game that they had to stop bitching about the refereeing. Those were the terms he
We can
actually
say that?
used. We're saying that.
Good,
Yeah.
because I didn't say it last night because I
No,
wasn't
I know.
sure and
You
I didn't
said
have the
stop
rules in front of
being.
me.
Yes.
They're
no.
not used to getting penalties. They don't get many penalties during
So,
the season.
but I have a comment on that, Lutz, because after the Colorado game,
Well, he complained. He talked about stepping your way back.
Pete complained. Matt Duchene mentioned that, and they said we think we were a much better team than maybe the score, the shot counter. We also, 5-1 penalties. Then you get to the game last
But the
night.
way he said it after that game is he was blaming the referee.
Yes.
That's the way. You just call it for what it is.
That's what I'm saying.
You didn't say it.
Well,
I'll say it.
well, I'm
He
glad
was
you-
blaming the refs.
He was blaming the refs.
Okay. Now he's blaming the players.
Look at what Ardell says. Let's pull his mic cord out and blame John. Look what you did.
It's the meme of Eric Andre with the gun when he turns and shoots the other guy,
Yeah, I know.
and it's just Eric
It's
Andre
another
What'd you do?
another cartoon. we're
It's
talking
another
about.
Spider-Man.
It's a Ren and
pointing.
Stimpy reference.
So, but that's my whole thing is I couldn't help but think back to Colorado when we heard Pete say, I went in and told the players we have to stop complaining about the referees and start focusing on the game. He's right. They do. But then 2 days before you were complaining about the referee. So it made me laugh.
Kind of like the pot calling the kettle black kind
Yeah,
of thing. Is that what they say that?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Pete said today, I think it was Michael Dixon from the ticket asked. He was basically
Stars radio host.
Yeah, he was asking about that. But the way he worded it, I forget exactly what he said, but it was basically like, you said on the bench it was frustrating about the refs, and Pete said, no, I didn't say that. I don't want to get fined. What I said was, and then he went into what he said. So it's just, it clearly was something that Pete's a funny guy in the sense that he'll say something and then it could be a big deal. Like the Miro thing sounds like a big deal or whatever. And then when it becomes a big deal, he's very surprised that it became a big deal. Is that something that shouldn't coaches understand that
you know what? I just think that this all comes from him being internally frustrated the way his team is playing against two teams that they may have to go through in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, he expected more from his team. The players expect more from themselves. And, it comes to a point where sometimes you can't be as cool as he is. Because I've said this all year about Pete. I mean, especially in the beginning of the year, he was always taking the high road about the team. And, there's times I'm like, he's got to snap at some point.
Yeah.
Like, please snap at some point because they hear it. And that's why I said early in the season, I said, I think things that he says to the public, it may get elevated a little bit in the locker room to just the team. And he keeps, this is our stuff. We keep our stuff in-house. Just like there's a couple guys got injured, we still don't know how the hell they got hurt.
Well, I don't know if you do this when you're coaching.
Pause day to day.
No, I don't call nothing. I lose it.
No. When you're talking to your players, I constantly, again, I coach my kids rec soccer. I help them with hockey here and there. But more on the soccer side. And I specifically tell them, stop complaining about the refereeing. I said, have you ever seen a referee make a call, hear a player, especially a teenager, complain and go, oh, you know what? You're right, and change his mind? No, they don't. So you yelling and giving them a hard time and antagonizing them was the word I was looking for.
Bitching.
Yep. Thank you.
I got to
See,
say
yeah,
that
but
time.
you whispered it. You were not
well,
confident.
I'm still scared a little bit.
Yeah. but doing that doesn't
Just tell
help,
it to me and
right?
I'll say it.
Berating a ref on the field just makes it worse. And I keep telling the kids, don't try to be a ref. Your job is to play. And if you're focused on trying to be a referee, you're not focused on your job, and you can't do it. And what happens if you then see a guy handball and they don't blow a whistle, and now you stop and go, hey, that's a foul, and the guy takes off? Luddy, if you think that's a trip and you put your hand up and say, hey, ref, and the play keeps going, now you're not focused on what you're doing. Do you guys talk about that with your U18s at all, or they must yell at the ref sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
They all do.
How many times during a game I tell them to shut up? It doesn't.
Right.
It's not helping. And I'll always wait till after the period, then go talk to them, not to the players, to the referees,
Yes.
And kind of talk in a different way. But we did it our whole careers. I mean, you're screaming at them all the time. They have pretty thick skin. They really do. And I give
it
them
back to you.
I give them exactly.
I've
I
seen
give them a
NHL
ton
refs
of
do
credit.
Yeah.
For doing it, and I think they should. And they know that it's the heat of the moment players are in, and so they deal with it the right way, better than the players.
Yeah,
do.
I think it's the best. I forget what video or who it was, but he was like, someone was screaming at a ref, and I don't remember. It was one of the famous refs. I don't remember which one it was. And he's like, F you. He's like, F you, you're getting an embellishment. Just right back at him. Like,
Sounds like it's Wes McCauley.
Wes McCauley, Paul Stewart would have done something like that.
Stewie would pick you up and put you in the box. Oh yeah, no, Stewie
There were some
would
great character referees when you
Stewie
played.
would make you fight a guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh really? That's what you think? Well, then then all of a sudden everybody play. Go get him. He'd push you into the fight.
I wouldn't know.
He was
unbelievable.
If I was mad at it, like furious at a ref for calling something, and I yell at him and he curses right back at me, I would probably just, yeah, okay, you're right. Just
Boy, there's so many
put your
different
legs and go.
Yeah, I wouldn't be expecting
between. Talk about the old characters. Yeah, we have to end on time today, but Don Koharski, Kerry Frazier, Bill McCreary, Paul Stewart. Boy, there were some really. Wes McCauley's definitely picked that up now. Harry,
This was from earlier.
quick super chat. What does Brendan Smith? What does Mason think about Sam not knowing Trebek? We didn't have time to ask that.
I'll ask him.
Luds, we've got to sign off in 30 seconds. Stars playing the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow against your buddy John Cooper and company.
Another measuring stick game. I mean, they're getting a steady dose of some good teams here, so we'll see if they can stay out of the box and keep a couple of the guys from the Lightning off the score sheet.
All right, that's it for us. For Luds, for Sam, for John, I'm Owen. Thank you so much to Mason Marchment. We will be here tomorrow, 6:15 pregame show.
Technically, we have to go 10 more seconds.
On DLLS.
10 more seconds. Sam gets to do
Countdown,
whatever
5,
he wants.
4.
This is the crazy time. This is my crazy time.
Stretch it out.
He's going to finish his chicks.
We all silly like the mayor.